The trek to Everest starts and ends at the Lukla Airport. It's also known as the Tenzing Hillary Airport. This is an adventure all by itself. With a runway length of only 1,729 feet, at an elevation of 9,337 feet, this runway has a 12% gradient. It is literally located on the side of a mountain. Landing at Lukla Airport requires specialized pilot training due to its unique and challenging environment. Pilots certified to operate out of Lukla all carry an IFR certificate, a commercial pilot's license with high altitude operational training, stall training or short takeoff and landing training, and mountain flying training. Specific requirements for Lukla Airport include experience with steep approach angles, knowledge of local weather patterns, and proficiency in the Dornair 228 or the Canadian-made Twin Otter or similar stall aircraft. The Nepalese government also stipulate a minimum of 1,000 hours and 5 years of flight experience. There are currently only 4 airlines that operate out of Lukla: Nepal, Terra, Summit, and Sita. Our trip to Lukla started with a 3 a.m. alarm and a 5:20 arrival at the Kathmandu International Airport. Our guides maneuvered us through the chaos of Kathmandu Domestic Terminal. This is a vibrant and chaotic hub, filled with a kaleidoscope of sounds, colors, and smells. Pure congestion. You don't know what's going on. You don't know if you're blocked or already established in a lineup for something. Our weight limit for our bags was 10 kilograms. All of our bags were slightly overweight. Here, cash is king. 1,000 denomination rupee bills are the norm. Each of our guides are carrying a 6-inch thick bankroll of rupees, counting and recounting as money changes hands. Our departure time was originally scheduled for 6 a.m., but the Lukla Airport temporarily closed due to poor weather. At one point, it looked like we weren't going to make it at all, but then we received a get-ready call somewhere around 9 a.m. for a potential 10 a.m. departure. At 10 a.m., we boarded a Dornair 228. Now, the Dornair 228 is a 19-passenger, twin-turboprop stall utility aircraft. It is ideally suited for short field operations at high altitudes. The thrilling flight into Lukla Airport is an unforgettable experience that marks the beginning of our epic adventure in the Himalayas. As we soar through the stunning mountain scenery, breathtaking landscape unfolds below, with towering peaks, lush forests, and picturesque villages dotting the rugged terrain. The aircraft banks and turns, providing breathtaking views of the surrounding mountains, before beginning its steep descent onto the infamous short runway, which appears precariously perched on the side of a mountain. The runway demands utmost precision from the pilots. There are no go-arounds here. Once you have committed, you're either landing on the runway or hitting the mountain. As the plane touches down, a collective sigh of relief mixes with excitement, signaling the start of an unforgettable journey.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's just amazing how close you're flying to the hills.
Yeah.
And like the clouds and the turbulence, so bumpy. It's such a tiny little aircraft.
And the landing, you kind of hit the runway.
Yeah.
You don't flare.
It literally came out of nowhere. Like the wheels come down, and you still feel like, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah.
And then you smack the ground so hard.
Awesome.
Everest Base Camp is 80 kilometers and 8 days away. Immediately after flying into Lukla, we descend into Phakding for one night. On day 2, we climb up to Namche Bazaar for 2 nights to aid in acclimatization. Next, we hike from Namche Bazaar to Deboche for 1 night. On day 5, we climb to 14,000 feet to Pheriche for 2 nights to aid in acclimatization. On our 7th day, we climb up the Pheriche Valley and then go straight north up the side of the Khumbu Glacier to Lobuche, just above 16,000 feet, for 1 night. On our final day of ascent, we climb an additional 1,700 feet past Gorakshep, the highest settlement in the Himalayas, before proceeding on to Everest Base Camp at 17,600. After visiting base camp, we will return to Gorakshep to sleep before starting our return journey to the Lukla airport. The trek from Lukla to Phakding is just 8 kilometers and 3 to 4 hours. After landing, we had a quick stop for tea and started our way down.
You can tell we're on Everest because the potato chips. Oh my God! Feel that? See, these are packaged when they're at a lower altitude, and this is just like very thin air here. Yeah, you see?
Unlike Kilimanjaro, it immediately became apparent that there seems to be no regulations limiting the weight that porters in Nepal can carry. On the way to Phakding, the trail passes through forests, pine trees, and terraced farmland. Here, close to Phakding, there seems to be no limit to the creature comforts available for hikers. These drop off quickly as you climb towards Everest. By the time you make it to Gorakshep, you will be sharing a basic squat toilet and sleeping in a plywood box with no heat and no power. The sound of the Deboche River accompanies you for much of the hike. There are several suspension bridges crossing the river in this section. You also pass through charming Sherpa villages.
So what is the name of that place?
Phakding.
No, this is Phakding.
Here is our first tea house. No heat, but we did have power, light, and a bathroom. Helicopters are used extensively in the Himalayas. Unfortunately, there is little solitude on the Everest Base Camp trail. Not only are there thousands of hikers and porters, you will see as many as 50 to 70 helicopters per day. Our second day in the Himalayas started in Phakding in light rain. The rain only lasted an hour, and that was the only rain we experienced over the next 12 days. The trek from Phakding, 8,562 feet, to Namche Bazaar, 11,290 feet, is one of the most visually captivating and dynamic sections of the Everest Base Camp Trail. It transitions through lush valleys, suspension bridges, and picturesque mountain scenery while introducing trekkers to the cultural and natural beauty of the Kumbh region.
We are here at Monzo.
Monzo?
Yeah.
How are we doing for time? Are we doing good?
You are doing very good.
Or amazing?
Amazing.
I'm looking at our lunch destination for tomorrow. That's Everest Hotel or Everest View Hotel.
Everest View Hotel is in the right hand side. If you like a small tiny hill, like there here, just next to the
Wow.
hotel. And then you can see another side, like
So that is noon tomorrow. We'll be there.
The trail initially winds through lush valleys with dense forests of pine and cedar. Moss-covered rocks and small waterfalls enhance the natural beauty of this forested area. The trek closely follows the Deboche River, a glacier-fed river with strikingly turquoise waters. The river often roars below the trail, providing a soothing and invigorating soundtrack to the hike. One of the most iconic features of this section is the series of suspension bridges that cross the river. These bridges are adorned with colorful prayer flags that provide dramatic views of the valley and the rushing river below.
I think somebody's just about to go off.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they go.
Oh, it's just off the side of the hill. I didn't get to see the jump.
The Hillary suspension bridge just before the steep ascent to Namche is the highest and most memorable. Just beyond Monjo, you enter the Surgarmotha National Park, a World Heritage Site. The park's entrance features a checkpoint and an information center. This section of the trail is rich in biodiversity, with a chance to spot musk deer and various bird species like the vibrant Himalayan monin, the national bird of Nepal.
Here, the limit is 100 kilograms for a human. So animal rights, 60 kilograms, human rights.
The final stretch is a challenging steep climb through switchbacks leading to Namche Bazaar. Upon reaching Namche Bazaar, trekkers are greeted with a spectacular amphitheater-like view of the vibrant town nestled against a hillside, surrounded by towering peaks. The climb from Phakding to Namche transitions from serene landscape to a bustling mountain hub, making it one of the most diverse and memorable sections of the trek.
Climbed a lot today. All sorts of changes of scenery. So many different types of trail, like concrete path and then just like complete rubble. Walked in the riverbed for about a kilometre. And then, yeah, that climb. Blocked the view the whole way. And then the bridge.
Unbelievable.
That was a high little bridge.
And you have a fear. You did really well.
Yeah.
It doesn't bug me at all. I was.
No, you were chilling. But no, yeah.
It's captured most of it. I mean, the changing weather was amazing.
Yeah.
Like walking through rainforests at times, walking through the mist, the fog. Yeah, it was just brilliant.
To add to what the boys have said, apart from best trekking day of my life.
Wow, that's pretty strong. Awesome.
Bob's been dealing with a little bit of stomach stuff, but he's settling in, I think.
Eating a lot less.
You're eating less?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I only had, well, I've eaten rice.
The group's bonding.
Yep.
Everybody's getting along.
Yep.
We have one awesome lady with us.
And wonderful lady. So what happens when you go high? Your body is stressed.
I'm gonna have to charge you for this.
$5.
So when you go high, basically you've got receptors in your body. You've got oximeter sensors. So we're always detecting what our body oxygenation levels are, right?
Yeah.
So that's why. I don't know whether you noticed, but all the Nepalese are quite ruddy-cheeked, right? So they have naturally high levels of hemoglobin because they are used to living at high altitude in a low oxygen saturation level. If you look at all the kids, they're like incredibly rosy-cheeked.
Very cool.
So they're all so the medical term is polycythemia. So they've actually got an excess hemoglobin. Right, so if you compare it to populations who live at sea altitude, their hemoglobin is higher.
Okay.
Right, because they know they need to produce more red blood cells to maintain the oxygen saturations in their normal body tissues.
Tell me about the bone marrow one more time.
So when you're high, okay, because your oxygen sats drop, you'll pick that up. So your body tells your bone marrow to start producing more red blood cells.
Very cool.
But because to maintain your normal tissue oxygen saturation, you have to maintain a high heart level, right? That's why we're all tachycardic at high altitude. But when you go back down low, your body's in a less stressed state. Therefore, you can actually go to sleep. Because if you were, running a heart rate of 130, 140,
yes.
There are hormones that are driving that, like adrenaline, right?
So tomorrow we're triggering.
Yeah, we're triggering.
Yep.
We're triggering that sort of low saturation response, which is what you need to produce the extra red blood cells.
Awesome.
But you wouldn't be able to sleep in that state.
Yep.
So that's why you go high and then sleep low.
Awesome.
Today we awoke in Namche Bazaar at 11,300 feet to this breathtaking view. This is the view from our tea house, and even this photograph doesn't do justice. Namche Bazaar is really special. The town is renowned for its vibrant Sherpa culture, colorful markets, and stunning views of snow-capped mountains. Namche Bazaar offers both modern amenities and traditional charm, making it a unique blend of adventure and culture in the heart of the Himalayas. Our first stop today, during our acclimatization hike, will be the Tenzing Hillary Information Center. The Tenzing Hillary Information Center is a museum and information center dedicated to the history of mountaineering in the Everest region. Not only does this site provide a view of Everest, the center features exhibits on the history of mountaineering, the geology and ecology of the Everest region, and the culture and traditions of the Sherpa people.
So which one am I looking at here? The middle one?
Everest is where the helicopter is, just to the right of the helicopter.
Yeah.
To the that's Everest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
To the right. Yeah.
So right, where am I now? Right there.
Here is one of our better pictures of Everest. This is taken from the Tenzing Hillary Information Center. Although the mountain is enormous, Everest is still 18.5 miles or almost 30 kilometers away as the crow flies. From the Tenzing Hillary Information Center, Everest is visible directly behind Tenzing Sculpture. The hike from the Information Center to the Everest View Hotel is a captivating journey that blends physical challenge with breathtaking vistas. The trail initially ascends steeply, offering panoramic views of the surrounding peaks.
Section 1 is Phakding.
Okay, so we came from over there, and then the day before that, Lukla, which is we can't see Lukla.
Yeah.
It's in that direction though.
As you climb higher, the path levels out, winding through a serene landscape of rhododendron forests and pine trees. Along the way, there are many visual moments of awe. After 2 or maybe 3 hours of trekking, you reach the Everest View Hotel, the world's highest altitude luxury hotel, 12,729 feet or 3,880 meters. The hotel's terrace provides an unparalleled viewpoint where trekkers can relax with tea or coffee while soaking in the majestic Himalayan scenery. The hike down back to Namche Bazaar was visually stunning and for some reason further than I remember. Here is a great picture of our entire team taken somewhere around 12,500 feet, about 1,000 or 1,200 feet above Namche Bazaar. Anne took these pictures of yaks. Generally, yaks are only found above 9,800 feet or 3,000 meters in the Himalayas. How did they get up here? Take a look at this picture. Hundreds, if not thousands of years of yak tracks. They have their own paths to reach the high grazing grounds. Here is a picture of the Siangbok Airport located above Namche Bazaar. It's located at 12,402 feet, 3,750 meters. It's one of the world's highest airstrips. It is also only 1,312 feet long. Despite its strategic location, its operations are limited due to challenging geographic and meteorological conditions. The airstrip was initially established to improve access to the Everest region, significantly reducing trekking time for visitors and facilitating the transportation of goods. Well, it didn't work out that way. Infrastructure challenges, unpredictable weather, and its short, unpaved runway have restricted its use, mostly to helicopters and small, short takeoff and landing aircraft. This airport has not been used for regular flights for over a decade. The views on the return hike were breathtaking. It is unbelievable what porters can carry.
Just finished day 3 I am completely knackered. The views are like nowhere else on earth. We climbed essentially to the top of the highest mountain that's in the Rocky Mountain range. And then we're looking across at a mountain that's twice the height of the Rockies. And yet it is only, 2/3 of Everest. And as you're looking at this and you're standing on a cliff edge, a helicopter goes by 1,000 feet below you. This is the most spectacular scenery I've ever seen.
On our fourth day in the Himalayas, we will be hiking from Namche to Bazaar to Deboche. It is one of the most scenic and iconic sections of the Everest Base Camp trail. The trail provides breathtaking views of some of the world's highest peaks, like Acclimatization, with its elegant pyramid-like shape. It has a dominant presence during the entire day. The trail is marked with manai walls, which are stone walls inscribed with prayer, and stupas, adding a spiritual atmosphere to the journey.
There's a fellow crossing the bridge.
Get him!
So hard to stay steady.
Hillary Bridge.
That was 2 days ago we were on that bridge.
Although the elevation gain today seems modest, it is not reflective of the trail. At one point, we need to descend 1,600 feet to cross the Deboche River, then immediately climb 2,000 feet over a 3-hour period to the Deboche Monastery.
Oh, you good patient animals.
This is just breathtaking. I mean, you can't take enough pictures of this. And the pictures don't give it justice. Jumbo!
Jumbo! Namaste!
So we're going for lunch down here. Going for lunch down there.
We had heard that there were climbers on Acclimatization and that we would be able to see their lights at night. When I first zoomed in, I thought I could see a hiking trail, but as I got closer, it just turned out to be a break in the glacier.
That would be amazing for rafting, wouldn't it?
This whole place is amazing.
Look at the white water there.
It's just unbelievable.
So we're at the halfway point of day 4, and I would say that we've done the easy half.
Oh, yeah.
So we started at 11,300. We're now at 10,800, and we need to go to 11,800.
Where we were. Where we were.
11,000, and then we descend a little bit, but essentially we're at the very, very bottom. So what do you think about today?
Oh, I think it's awesome. We're just in a different valley now, but it's rough to get here, and it'll be rough to get to the next one.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievably beautiful. The scenery changes every 5 minutes, and we are getting a total education. Peace out.
So 2,000 feet vertical, and it should take us 3 hours. Sure, with our tongues hanging out. Look what we got! Woo! We don't even have to finish it now. Somebody took pity on us. So who was it? What was his name?
Mark from New York.
Mark from New York. So we don't even have to finish this silly little hill. This is going on my backpack. It's going to go.
Somebody gave us
Yeah,
these.
yeah.
We haven't even finished.
It's going to go right about here, I think.
The scenery between Namche Bazaar and Deboche offer a mesmerizing combination of towering mountains, deep valleys, cascading rivers, and cultural landmarks. The trail feels like a journey through a living postcard, with every turn revealing a new perspective of grandeur of the Himalayas. The Deboche Monastery is the largest monastery in the Kumbh region. The monastery is set against a spectacular backdrop of towering peaks and a serene spot to pause and soak in the views.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Here, just put this one right on. I got to put it in the shade so I can see it. Push it in hard, okay? And lay down the flat. And then let's just cover it just a sec. I don't think it's showing up on camera, but you're sitting at 78 and 104. 77 and 104. Take a couple deep breaths. It's pretty steady. Your pulse is coming down. So 78 and 98.
Cool.
So not bad.
Okay,
not bad. We had to climb 2,000 feet vertically today, which was a challenge. It was a push. I'm cold, and we're in a room. Of course, there's no heat. There's no power. Internet is $15 US for one night. Hot shower is $8 US a night, a shower. And we're not doing that because it's too cold in here in order to get from the shower to here.
My product placement. Only one river crossing today.
Yeah. We had to drop 1,500 feet to get to it and then climb 2,000 feet to get out of it. The floor is damp. The mattress is damp. And but we do have a down sleeping bag, which I think we're going to be using tonight. And out our window, Bob, I think behind that cloud, I think that's Everest.
Yep.
I'm starting to recognize the mountains, actually. It should be right there.
Yep.
So,
wow, look at that.
I know, it's unbelievable.
What Bob and I were looking at was the sun setting on Amidablam. Stunning. Let's back this up and look at it one more time.
I've never seen scenery. I keep saying that. Like yesterday, I said the same thing.
No.
There's nowhere on earth like this. This is it.
Bloody hard, man. I did not want to finish that last bit. That was really hard.
So we dropped 2,000 feet and then climbed.
Another 2,000 feet.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did not enjoy that.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's over. Let's leave it at that. But
Awesome.
the views were amazing.
I have nothing to compare today to.
I didn't think today was quite as hard as some of the others. However,
She's throwing you under the bus.
Coming from the monastery down to here,
Yeah.
I thought it was the hardest thing I've done so far.
What?
The monastery was amazing. Never seen so much ornate work. All of it symbolic of the religion in this area. It's fun to gain an appreciation for another culture like that.
Wow.
It was bingo.
I was just sleeping on the bench.
I'll be sleeping later.
Good. With the sunny day, you are doing very good. Yeah, view was good. Better than yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah?
And then, so you are doing good. Even so now it's cloudy. So later, if the weather is clear in the morning, yeah.
Yeah?
So you can see views from here very nicely, yeah.
Beautiful.
Amadablam, Everest, Lobuche, Namche, yeah, Deboche, those mountains you can.
Are you just making stuff up now?
Well, I loved this morning.
Okay.
I didn't love this afternoon as much as this morning. I'm so pleased we got here.
Yeah.
But the weather was fantastic. Weather was better than I could have expected. So
It was incredible.
overall, now that we're here, it was a great day. But I suffered this afternoon.
All right, so we're looking at Everest from our window in our tea hut. This is our tea hut room. This is the view.
Each morning my day started and ended with electrolytes. I also took vitamins and 125 milligrams of Diamox every 12 hours. Diamox essentially makes you breathe at a faster rate, which increases the oxygen level in your body.
This is our tea hut this morning. It's about 6:15 in the morning. It's freezing in here. They've just started our heater, so we should have some heat in 15 minutes. A can-do table is over here, and this is our tea for our group here. And I just want to show you this view. I'll just go behind our table. And there's Everest. Here's Dev and Anthony. And it is a cold morning. Today is going to be an easy day compared to yesterday, that's for sure.
The trek from Deboche, around 12,500, to Pheriche at approximately 14,000, is characterized by its increasing altitude, expansive valleys, and dramatic mountain views. This section offers a mix of serene forest, cultural landmarks, and high-altitude terrain that showcase the raw beauty of the Everest region. The journey begins with a gentle ascent through serene forests of birch, juniper, and rhododendron. After leaving the forested area, we crossed the Emigiacola River via the suspension bridge. The river, fed by glacier melt, flows swiftly through the deep gorge. Towering peaks like Amadablam loom above, creating a dramatic contrast to the quiet, shaded trail below. We stopped for tea, and I used this stop as a quick opportunity to check my oxygen and pulse. The water for our tea was boiled by the sun. The lush greenery of the lower altitudes gradually gives way to sparse vegetation like dwarf junipers and alpine shrubs.
What's interesting is these mountains right here have no snow on them. And these ones directly behind them are completely covered in snow because they're 10,000 feet higher.
This is our first view of Pheriche. Pheriche is about 14,000 feet. This is taken from 4 to 5 kilometers away with a telephoto. Over the next hour, we will settle down into this valley and cross the suspension bridge. If you look closely, you can see the bridge here. The vastness of the Khumbu Valley, flanked by towering peaks, creates an awe-inspiring sense of scale. As the trail continues beyond Pangboche, the landscape begins to open up into a broad, glacier-carved valley. We've made it to our tea house at Pheriche. Here is our view looking south at the valley we just spent the day coming up. We'll be spending 2 days here, completing our second acclimatization hike tomorrow. Here is where we are in the Himalayas. Straight north of us is Everest. It's still 15 kilometers away as the crow flies, and 24 kilometers and 2 days by trail. We are currently in Pheriche at 14,000 feet. Directly behind Pheriche is the beginning of our acclimatization hike. Just a few hundred feet up the hill behind our tea house provides an excellent vista. Here's a picture of our tea house. Here, using a telephoto, I'm looking south at the suspension bridge we crossed yesterday to get to Pheriche. Today, we are planning on a multi-hour hike climbing an additional 1,700 feet to approximately 15,700. I'm going to stop the video here for a minute as it provides an excellent vantage point. To our left, you can see the village of Pheriche. We will be spending our second night in Pheriche tonight, and then tomorrow we'll be heading up the valley off the screen to the left, continuing our climb to Everest. On the right of this screen is the village of Deboche. Everest is visible, or almost visible, just off the top of our screen on the right. In the center of the screen, you can see our acclimatization trail.
Lobuche.
Know how big Pheriche, yeah?
Yes, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 and 15 tea houses.
We are going to work our way up this trail and stop right about here before returning to Pheriche. The scenery from this location is unbelievable. Standing on this outcropping of rock, looking south at the valley we ascended yesterday, you can see the village of Deboche almost 1,500 feet below me. Here is a better view from 1,500 feet above Deboche. Look at the landslides on the side of the mountain, completely wiping out the trail to this farmland located at 14,000 feet. Now let's swing around and look north. Again, unbelievable scenery, and we're just half of the elevation of Everest. This eagle was circling us. At first I thought it was a vulture circling to pick off the weak. From his vantage point, we all looked dead. Now let's swing around and look up the Pheriche Valley to the northwest. We have descended here almost 1,000 feet. Pheriche is about 500 feet below us. Looking up the right side of the screen, you can see a trail leaving Pheriche north up the valley floor. This is the beginning of tomorrow's hike. We will spend about an hour and a half working our way up the valley before turning to the right, straight north, and then work our way up the side of the Khumbu Glacier towards Everest. Tomorrow, we'll be climbing to Lobuche at a staggering height of 16,000 feet. This evening, we were fortunate enough to sit in on a Himalayan Rescue Association presentation on acute mountain sickness, AMS. The Himalayan Rescue Association, or HRA, is a voluntary non-profit organization formed in 1973 with an objective to reduce casualties in the Himalayas. One of the most important tasks of the HRA is to try to prevent deaths from mountain illness that confronts both foreign trekkers as well as the Nepalese people. Since its inception in 1973, it has manned a small aid post in the Khumbu village of Pheriche, right where we are located right now at 14,000 feet. While we were on the mountain, the HRA was running free 60-minute briefing sessions on acute mountain sickness every day at 3 p.m.
Just came back from an hour presentation on high altitude sickness, mountain sickness. Very interesting presentation.
And what did we learn about Kilimanjaro?
Yeah, every one of us pretty much had the symptoms.
And we're not talking the medium stuff, we're talking the hospitalization emergency.
And that's why, I don't know if you remember, August wanted us all down right away. He was getting upset. He knew. He could tell.
Well, all of the things that we were experiencing, from hallucinations to dizziness to the fact that I lost the use of my left leg,
No, that's
to walking like you're drunk.
it's a symptom. Yeah.
Anyway, it was a bit of an eye-opener.
The trek from Pheriche at 14,300 to Lobuche at 16,200 is a stunning journey through the rugged, high-altitude terrain of the Everest region. The scenery transitions into stark glacial landscapes with breathtaking views of towering peaks and vast valleys. This section of the trail is both physically challenging and visually rewarding. The trail starts with a gentle ascent out of the wide, flat valleys of Pheriche. These Sherpa walls and buildings are amazing. they stay erect with no use of concrete.
How is doing?
Awesome.
Good.
Ow! Don't do that. Oh.
Legs it up in the leg higher.
It's on the inside of the leg, I like.
I couldn't get lucky in a women's prison with a briefcase full of pardons. Plane gets felt up.
As we head north up towards Lukla Pass, we first stop for tea at Yak Lodge, located around 15,200.
We're heading over there for tea. We're going to be crossing that right here. A little tiny bridge there.
The climb out of Yak Lodge towards Lukla Pass is steep, and Lukla Pass is located about 16,000, just shy of 16,000 feet.
Okay, so we're at a memorial somewhere around 16,000. I'm just going to turn the camera around and show you what we're looking at. It's unbelievable.
This area is marked by dozens, if not hundreds, of memorial and stone cairns honoring climbers and Sherpas who have lost their lives in the Himalayas.
You saw Scott Fisher?
Yeah.
96. I'm sure Rob Hall's there somewhere. What town are you in?
Oh no. I don't even know my own name.
We're
one day from base camp.
we're 1 day from base camp.
Oh, first chopper.
Whoa.
No issues today for me hiking.
Me neither.
No. Everything's working good.
Yep.
Following the rules makes a huge difference. So,
I don't know what the rules are, but I'm following them. Yeah, one of the plaques said that if your goals don't scare you, you need to shoot higher.
yeah. So we're going to shoot higher. Right now we're aiming low.
Hey, you can see the moon.
Yeah. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, so we're looking at the Khumbu Glacier. Looking towards Everest, it's up that direction and then turn right. This is the Khumbu Glacier. You're looking at stones and rock that are on top of the ice, disappearing off in that direction into cloud.
The bottom of the snow.
Yeah, the snow.
This is the Everest Base Camp.
Where's Everest Base Camp?
The bottom is snow.
You're
Bottom
saying
of-
that we can see it?
Yes.
That's Everest Base Camp.
Yes.
That's the glacier.
Right there.
Khumbu Icefall.
So I should be able to see the big rock. And
Crushed Pringle?
I'll have one crushed Pringle. Thank you.
Crushed Pringle?
Crushed
Can you
Pringle.
speak English?
Crushed Pringle. How much was that?
No idea. I think $8 or something.
How's your drugs? You doing good?
Oh,
Just
wow.
munching and chewing and...
This is keeping me going, man.
Okay. Bye.
Lobuche was cold. Looking at a satellite picture, it's easy to see why. Lobuche is located at the base of Lobuche Glacier. Lobuche Glacier merges with the larger Khumbu Glacier right at Lobuche. The trek from Lobuche, 16,200, to Everest Base Camp, 17,600, is a remarkable journey through one of the most dramatic and iconic landscapes in the world.
Cold.
Yeah.
Colder than cold.
We are in the sunshine. What is it, about 40?
Feet are freezing. But we're now in the sunshine, so
About 45 minutes, you figure, what we did?
7:39.
So that's probably less than half an hour, is it?
Geez, we motored then.
Is that and all up there?
This section, while physically demanding due to altitude and rugged terrain, offers unparalleled views of towering peaks, glacial formations, and the raw beauty of the high Himalayas.
So here is the Khumbu Trough. The Khumbu Glacier left this trough here. As far as I'm concerned, that's the only indication of the direction of Everest. You sure as heck can't see it.
The trail begins with a gradual ascent across rocky terrain, with soil and rock left behind from the Khumbu Glacier. The landscape is barren, with scattered rocks and patches of snow covering the ground. The path follows the edge of the Khumbu Glacier, one of the world's most famous glaciers. The glacier's surface is a chaotic mix of ice, rocks, and debris, with shimmering blue ice visible in crevices and ridges. As we walk alongside the glacier, the vastness and ruggedness of the terrain are awe-inspiring. Vegetation is nearly non-existent, adding to the stark, otherworldly feel of the environment. Throughout this section, we are surrounded by the highest mountains in the world.
Do you guys have any idea where we are?
Yeah, very near Gorakshep.
Okay, near Gorakshep. And about, I'm going to say about an hour ago, we got our first view of Everest here on this hike. We actually haven't seen Everest in 4 days.
You guys see the Everest?
Yeah, we do. Right there.
Long way up there.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to see a 29,000 foot mountain when there's 27,000 foot mountains in front of you.
After about 4 hours, the trail gets seriously rugged as we have to cross the Changri Nup Glacier just before reaching Gorakshep. Gorakshep is the last settlement before Everest Base Camp. It is a small, stark outpost of lodges surrounded by dramatic peaks. We're stopping for tea, leaving our gear here, and we'll be returning in 6 to 7 hours after visiting Everest Base Camp. Beyond Gorakshep, the terrain becomes increasingly rugged, with loose rocks, scree, and glacial debris dominating the trail. It feels like walking through a moonscape with scattered boulders and uneven paths winding their way across the Khumbu Glacier debris. The Khumbu Glacier accompanies us for much of the 3-hour journey. Its gray, rubble-strewn surface is dotted with ice pinnacles and occasional turquoise pools of meltwater. Deep crevasses and glacial ridges highlight the raw power of this massive ice formation.
So Sangbu says that we're an hour and a half.
Yeah. We've heard that one before.
We're hoping he's not lying. How you doing, Anthony?
Reasonable. It's about as good as I can say, Dwayne.
Mr. Orr?
Yes, sir.
You doing good?
Living the dream.
Well, that's a Lutzi.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah? It looks different from every angle, eh?
Yeah.
And where do you climb to Camp 1? Up that?
No, to the ice sheet goes up.
In between those two?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the ice fall.
I couldn't even tell that there is a between there.
Yeah.
Just before Everest Base Camp, we have to cross another glacier, the Changri Shar Glacier. Like the Changri Nup Glacier, it merges with the Khumbu Glacier, both contributing significantly to the flow and dynamics of the Khumbu Glacier. As we approach Base Camp, the Khumbu Icefall, one of the most treacherous sections of the Everest climbing route, comes into view. Its massive towers of ice and deep crevices create a stunning, dynamic spectacle.
All the way up to Everest. Wow.
Reaching Everest Base Camp feels like entering a high-altitude amphitheater surrounded by giants. The camp sits directly on the Khumbu Glacier, and the views are dominated by the icefall, nearby peaks, and the surrounding barren wilderness. While the summit of Everest is not visible from base camp, the sense of proximity to the world's highest mountain is palpable. Our entire team made it to Everest. What an accomplishment. Here's our small group of 6 representing the UK, Canada, and the United States. Here's a picture of our group including our 2 can-do guides, Chesang and Sangbu. Once again, a big shout out to Can Do Adventures. This flag has been to the top of Kilimanjaro as well.
I'm just sitting down, taking a break, taking another Advil because my back's killing me. But I'm looking down the Kumba Valley, and we're at about, I don't know, 17,500 or so. You see the clouds below us. We've got to head back that way about 3 hours for our camp tonight at 17,000. That'll be the that's the highest camp in the Himalayas. And then we work our way down that way.
As we worked our way back to Gorkshep from Everest Base Camp the previous evening, our thoughts were already focused on the 70-some kilometers we have in front of us that we're going to cover in just 3 days instead of the 8 days it took to get up here. Granted, the distance coming up was a little longer due to 2 acclimatization days, which we won't be doing on the way down. We still have a significant distance to cover in just 3 days. As a group, the 6 of us decided that we wanted to spend more time in Namche Bazaar, if we could make it happen. 6 nights had passed since we arrived in Namche Bazaar to the time that we made it to Everest Base Camp. We wanted to make it to Namche Bazaar in just 2 days. More than that, we wanted to arrive in the early afternoon on the second day so we'd have time for a little shopping, maybe a beer or play some pool. So on our first day of descent, we're going to shoot for Deboche, some 19 kilometers away and 4,600 feet lower. This is where we're starting day 9. Starting very early, we first crossed the Changri Nup Glacier, then followed the west side of the Kumba Glacier down to Lobuche for a quick stop for tea. From Lobuche, we headed south towards Lukla Pass, just below 16,000 feet, then dropped to Yak Lodge, located at 15,200, and then worked our way down the Pheriche Valley to Pheriche for lunch. This is where things started to turn south for me personally. During lunch at Pheriche, I was experiencing some pain. Not muscle pain or leg cramps or anything that would be associated with overexertion, but rather internal pain. Not knowing the cause, I took a couple of Tylenol extra strength and we continued our journey to Deboche. That night in Deboche, I was unable to sleep without painkillers and not getting better with rest. With Namche Bazaar as our destination on our second day of descent, and some 17 kilometers and thousands of feet of both descent and ascent ahead of us, I took 2 more Tylenol and we set off. Within 2 hours, I repeated the dosage, now well above recommended dosage. We all met up for tea after the 2,000-foot descent into Phumgi Venga. After tea, we went direct to Namche Bazaar, arriving somewhere around 2 p.m. On the way into town, Anthony spotted a hospital, so we went directly there so I could get checked out. Hindsight can be a valuable teacher. Had I only taken the painkillers the doctor provided, I would have had no issue completing our last day's hike to Lukla. But I didn't do that. Instead, I took the painkillers and the antibiotics he had prescribed. And unfortunately, I reacted badly to the antibiotics, and in short, that was the end of me. Dev, a fellow hiker, found me in the hallway of our tea house, somewhat disoriented, about 2 o'clock in the morning. Before dawn, arrangements had been made to airlift me off the mountain to get me to a hospital in Kathmandu. Namche Bazaar is sort of like being in a fishbowl. Our tea house was in the middle down at the bottom at 11,300 feet. And the helipad is 300 feet higher on a ridge edge where there were less obstructions. Chisang and my buddy Bob literally dragged me approximately 1 kilometer and up 300 feet of steps to the helipad. That had to be incredibly difficult for them, and I am very thankful. Both Bob and Chisang accompanied me via helicopter to Lukla. The way medevacs work in the Himalayas is they first airlift you to Lukla, just a 10-minute flight. There is a hospital located right beside the runway in Lukla. There, you receive whatever care is necessary to stabilize the situation while you wait for transportation to Kathmandu. The helicopter flight to Kathmandu is over an hour in duration, and for this reason they group multiple medevacs together to reduce the cost. I waited 4 hours in Lukla while other medevac helicopters arrived with patients from all over the Himalayas. Then 6 of us piled into the A-Star for the flight to Kathmandu. Bob and Chisang stayed in Lukla. In Kathmandu, I was picked up by ambulance and taken to the Swakan International Hospital, where I stayed for the balance of my time in Nepal. While all of this was going on, the rest of our team, including one guide, Sangbu, completed the last day's hike to Lukla and joined up with Chisang and Bob. Their departure, scheduled for the following morning, also didn't go as planned. Weather had deteriorated, and after a period of delays, they too booked a helicopter for their return flight to Kathmandu. Unfortunately, I did not get an opportunity to say goodbye to the team in person. 2 nights after I was hospitalized, Kandu put on a farewell dinner for the team that I was unable to attend. The team did call me during this gathering, which certainly lifted my spirits.
Hey, Clyde!
Well, how are you guys?
How you doing, bud?
I've been better, but I'm so happy to hear you.
Yeah, we're upstairs just listening to the music here. We just got back from supper, so...
As I prepared for this video, I have found myself in awe more than once. I can't believe we did this. Trekking to Everest Base Camp is as much an inward journey as it is an outward one. The mountain challenges you physically, mentally, and emotionally, and in doing so, it becomes a mirror reflecting who you are, your strengths, vulnerabilities, and values. You're not just climbing a mountain, you're connecting with people who share your dreams. You come to understand that climbing the mountain isn't about conquering it. It's about discovering who you are when faced with something so much bigger than yourself. To my fellow Nepal nomads, thank you. Thank you for being such an important part of this amazing journey.